Good morning. I believe most of you know me. I'm Angie Simmons, and Ryan and I are here at the Medical University of South Carolina, Department of Developmental Pediatrics. We're here with Dr. Eve Spratt. Dr. Spratt is the founder of the HALOS program. Dr. Spratt's going to tell us a little bit today about her vision for starting HALOS and also what we as missionaries can do to help her with the program. Dr. Spratt.
Hi. I'm very glad to be here. I wish I could be there with you in person today. And Ms. Simmons gave me plenty of notice to be there, and then a very good friend of mine decided to officially tie the knot, and so she's getting married on February 11th, and so I can't be with you. But I do want to share the story about HALOS. I also know that Kim Clifton, who's the executive director of HALOS and has been with us 11 years now, will be there and can answer questions and tell you a lot more about the day-to-day ways that you can help than I could do. But I'm very excited to be at this point in the history of HALOS because we're going to be actually 20 years old since our very first meeting on May 1st of 2017. So it's amazing to me to think back of how we've grown over this time. So first, I have the good fortune of being friends with this lovely family, and so I feel very comfortable sharing some things with this audience that as an employee of the medical university, I would not feel quite as comfortable talking about, which is really hearing God's voice. And so I remember, so I have the good fortune at MUSC of working with a lot of different people. And at that particular time, I was also working with our Crime Victims Center. So I was seeing a lot of children that were foster children. I was seeing a lot of kids that had an abuse and neglect history. I was seeing kids that wanted to be reunited with a family or get back to their own family. And part of what I was struck by, also as a young mother at that time, I had a 4-year-old son at that time when this first was going on, was just wanting kids to have opportunities. So one of the things that I realized is so often I would see these kids, I would hear their sad story, and part of what I would want was to just get my checkbook out and write for them to go to summer camp or for them to have some special opportunities. And really in our community at that time, there was not a way for that to happen in any way that I could be useful. So I really didn't know very much about nonprofits at the time. But I remember that I was sitting in church, and I had actually spent some time in Africa as a medical student at Kenya, and I would hear these things about foreign missions, and I remember just thinking, why are we doing so much other places when we need some help here? So I was just very fortunate in then having somebody that could hear what I knew might be that message. So basically what I asked is for Charlie Darby, who was the chairman of pediatrics at the time, what I asked is if he would help fund a breakfast where I could get professionals to bring somebody from their own faith community.
And with the program, again, as the Missionary Society here, we want to work with the program. So what are some things that we can do to help you with the program?
Sure. So at that very first meeting, faith partners came in, and as the program has grown over the years, it's also included some businesses. And there are now, Kim can tell you the exact numbers because I will not get them exactly right, but during the holidays, 2,000 children got gifts this year. I think that there were about 200 families that got extra help, which was in whether it was groceries or other things. There are some other organizations that we partner with where the kids are able to get some other things like reading or other help like that, but that's not specifically through HALOS, but that's again another way that things can be done to help. Often there are meals provided for the kinship care program, which so when the program first started, it was very much focused with the Department of Social Services, but over the last years and really under Kim's guidance, it's grown especially to help kinship care families. And do you know what kinship care families means?
I do, but I think maybe some of the audience members
So
know.
it really is some of these kids that grandparents often step up to the plate to keep kids out of foster care. So you probably know some people that it's a grandparent raising children. They maybe didn't plan on doing that. It may be an aunt that all of a sudden has, in addition to her own children, she has 3 of their cousins too. So often what we know, families want to step up and help when there's a need, but yet there's not that stipend that helps foster parents survive. So often some things could be done that could be helpful to those families, whether it's material goods or other needs. So there are now monthly support meetings that are sponsored through Halos, and so sometimes there's some help that's needed really to just provide a meal there. There have been some times in the past that the kids have come and there's been a need for the kids to be entertained while the parents or the adults are having a meeting. Again, I know that's been a little bit on hold right now. We've had some staff changes with going on with that. But we also have had great support with some of our fundraisers, and sometimes we've needed volunteers to help with that. So like there's an oyster roast in October. Often even collecting things for the silent auction is a way that could be helped. But we have a really very active board. We've sometimes recruited board members from somebody that was passionate about the mission of the organization. And the mission really is to help support these families and the caregivers.
Well, thank you so much. And we do have a junior missionary group, and my personal thing is I would like to see our junior missionaries really get involved with the young people and maybe have some one-on-one with them. And again, when you're having functions, that we could come in and assist in serving meals or just, being of service.
Sure.
Because that's what we're all about, being of service.
Well, I know you want to be the hands and the feet, right?
That's it. And I'm sure Ms. Clifton will be able to give us
She
some
will.
specifics about the program.
Will. So I am fortunate in that a lot of wonderful people were able to help kind of birth the whole program in the very beginning, and I do remain on the board, which has been a privilege, but the day-to-day operations for years and years now has really been under Kim's good guidance.
Well, thank you so much. And again, having known you for such a long time, we know that the program is really legitimate, and we're really happy that we can help and do whatever we can do to expand the program.
Well, thank you. So it's serving really the Tri-County area right now. Families, especially the kinship care, has been where a lot of the outreach has been. Halos was actually housed in Charleston County DSS, that they had some space there because they realized the value, but now we've got space in North Charleston. And, we hope to just continue to provide good service. So
Well, thank you
wonderful
so
to
much.
bring more partners in.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.